Washington's UFO lobbyist says if UFO data were to be revealed, world's economy would collapse. Stephen Bassett, the only registered lobbyist of Washington, is urging the federal government to recognize an alien presence interacting with human species. He's convinced that the U.S. government is in possession of UFO technology, and it's only a matter of time before the president reveals to the American people that we are not alone. He believes that UFO disclosure would eventually confirm the extraterrestrials' presence on Earth. The Paradigm Research Group, PRG, led by Stephen Bassett, was established in 1996 to eliminate government-imposed embargo on the disclosure of information about events that may be related to extraterrestrial-related phenomena. He has spoken to audiences around the world about the implications of formal disclosure by world governments and of extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race, and given over 1,200 radio and television interviews. At the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., Bassett, PRG's organized a citizen hearings on disclosure in 2013. Two political initiatives were introduced by PRG in Washington, D.C. in November 2014 regarding the issue of the alien presence. One called for the first hearings on Capitol Hill since 1968. The other attempted to bring up the ET controversy during the 2016 election. Bassett considered May 2022 congressional UAP hearings, which happened the first time in more than 50 years, to be a significant moment. He had spent more than 25 years lobbying Congress and the administration to stop laughing at the UFO issue as DC's first officially registered UFO lobbyist. But he felt anxious as he saw official Washington finally treat the subject seriously. Bassett is not happy, despite being pleased that Congress was willing to have a public hearing. He asserts that the administration is still holding much greater secrets, and he will not relent in his pursuit of information until the White House provides a full accounting. He asks, what is disclosure? The President of the United States will publicly confirm the extraterrestrial presence is in fact real, that we are not alone in the universe. In the 1990s, Bassett read a canonical work of UFO research, Abduction, by Harvard professor John Mack. He decided to research the numerous accounts of supposed alien encounters more thoroughly after reading many testimonies Dr. Mack had examined, and in 1996 he made more than 3,000-mile trek from his home in San Luis Obispo, California, to the Program for Extraordinary Experience researchers' offices in Boston after securing a volunteer position with Mack's organization. Early in 1996, after arriving in Boston, Bassett occupied a desk in the Program for Extraordinary Experience Researchers' Development Department. Despite everything he had read, he got increasingly angry that journalists, politicians, and intellectuals still dismissed the extraterrestrial topics. He claimed that the citizen UFO activists had amassed enough evidence to prove the extraterrestrial presence 10 times over. He came to the conclusion that there was not a dearth of scientific study. Instead, it was the federal government's refusal to divulge information that he was certain it had, and that would definitively prove the existence of aliens. After spending 5 months in Boston, he relocated to Washington, D.C. region, where he established Paradigm's Research Group, and later he submitted his lobbying registration paperwork to Congress, which said that he would be advocating for both formal U.S. government recognition of an alien presence as well as public hearings on UFO matters. The press could not get enough of Bassett, but officials had no interest in speaking with him. Journalists began contacting the first ever UFO lobbyist in Washington after his lobbying registration forms were made public. Among many other outlets, the Pope, the Post, the New York Times, USA Today, and the Chicago Tribune ran stories about his work. Bassett started using sound bites that were appropriate for the media as he grew more at ease around reporters. In 2007, he stated that the Montgomery County Sentinel, it's not about lights in the sky, it relates to lying on the ground. In May 2017, Bassett conducted a lengthy interview in Moscow for REN TV, one of Russia's most popular networks, with 500 stations and 120 million viewers. In the full interview, Bassett covered a broad range of topics, including various considerations that might prompt Russian President Putin to make the first formal acknowledgement by a head of state regarding an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race. In this regard, the interview was unprecedented, as it is the first time anyone has made this argument on Russian media inside or outside of Russia. The PRG researchers claim that they know the reason why the U.S. authorities are hiding information about UFOs. According to them, the entire world economy will collapse if the UFO data is disclosed. Bassett added that all so-called flying saucers do not use oil, gasoline, gas, or coal. They have a different energy system. Without a doubt, a much more complex and deep system based on anti-gravity, he said. Some programs have been removed from jurisdiction of the White House and Congress and are working somewhere very, very deep in a hidden mode, quote unquote, the researcher said. I assure you, when the head of state finally officially admits this fact and presents evidence, people will start to worry and want to know more. But even if the economy stops developing in the current way, it will have new opportunities, Bassett believes. In 2019, Bassett's PRG organization hired Teresa Tyndall, another registered federal lobbyist who is also fighting for greater transparency about UFOs. Like Bassett, Tyndall is convinced that extraterrestrials are visiting Earth and interacting with humans. She believes that the government is complicit in the massive cover-up. She has been a MUFON member and field investigator for 9 years. She's currently with MUFON, Maryland State Director. Teresa has appeared on TV shows UFOs, The Lost Evidence, which just wrapped up in the US and is currently airing around the world. She's appeared in multiple interviews and holds a BS in psychology with work completed towards a doctorate in clinical psychology. Bassett is beginning a new project in an effort to put pressure on Washington to confirm the presence of aliens. He has partnered with a Hollywood production company to produce a web series that will be available for streaming and will feature interviews and analysis about UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Bassett conducts the interviews for the series, which at the time of publication was slated for release soon from studios in Glendale, California, and the National Press Building in Washington, D.C. He hopes that the exposure he gets from the project will help him have more opportunities in Congress. It is going to get me across to individuals and also probably much more media coverage, Bassett said, and it eventually gets to the point where, okay, people are going to take your phone calls, they're going to take your meetings, he said. And this is on Hows and Whys by Vicky Verma. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.